The Star Wars Holiday Special.
Where's Chewbacca?
Whip.
Oh, yes.
All of you are an important part of my life, pal.
I hope that this day will always be a day of joy in which we can reconfirm our dedication and our courage, and more than anything else, our love for one another.
You heard it up top. We are returning to a galaxy far, far away. We're going back to a long, long time ago because we are once again talking Star Wars here on Normies Like Us with the CBS Presents the Star Wars Holiday Special with your hosts. C-3PO Colin for just a couple seconds. I'm just in and out.
Yeah, there's some really memorable characters in this. I'll be Mike-La for this one.
Yeah, and this is Jake Baca. Happy Life Day, guys.
Happy Life Day, guys.
Happy Life Day, everybody. Jake Baca. And as on every Life Day, it's important that you spend time with those you care about. And today, we're lucky enough to be spending time with two people we care about immensely. Say hello and introduce yourselves, friends of the show. This is the Cargo Bay Podcast. Adam and BC. Hello, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us. I'm Adam, or just clearly a character actor from the 70s, just from Earth.
That's the entire credit, just Adam from Earth. Yeah.
And I'm Brady C. I was disgruntled. I was kicked out of the writers' room on the holiday special, so it's going to be painful for me to talk about, but I'm willing to get into it. More than willing to get into it.
Yeah.
If there's any time to put aside the differences in the pain of the past year and try to look for positives, now is it. So we appreciate you being here, even though they kicked you out of the writers' room.
They kicked you out because you said, "Hey, maybe we have too many musical numbers in this thing."
Hey, maybe I should be in charge of Star Wars.
I wanted a lot more B. Arthur, and I got a lot of pushback on that, which immediately I was out. So
you got your wish, though. It seems like.
Yeah. Do you guys want to tell our listeners a little bit about the Cargo Bay and all of your endeavors into the Star Wars universe over there?
Yeah, well, BC, you do the intros. You know what it's about. It's
a
Star Wars Conversation podcast.
It is a Star Wars Conversation podcast brought to you from a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah, we mostly just talk about all things Star Wars. We just started talking about it really on a lark. Adam one day was like, "Hey, do you want to talk about Star Wars?" I was like, "Yeah, of course I do," because we both love Star Wars, and so. I mean, this year we've been hitting it pretty hard. We've gone through all of the films. We did the Book of Boba Fett. We have thoughts about that. Check out the podcast if you want to know how we feel about Book of Boba Fett. Obi-Wan Kenobi, we did that. We did Andor, which we loved. We just get into all things Star Wars, all things good and bad, and just kind of talk about. What we like about it, what we think could possibly be better. I think we might have some notes for today's topic of conversation.
No, impossible. Guest Jacob on one of those Andor episodes, and I'll say right now, you guys are doing the Lord of the Rings movies, right?
Well, we did the Fellowship as a holiday special, and I think we'll stretch all the way to next Christmas before we touch the Two Towers, and maybe make it a little holiday tradition.
So,
like Peter Jackson, we will make everybody wait a full year for the next Lord of the Rings content. So,
a franchise that would maybe make for better holiday specials than the franchise we're going to be talking about today.
Although we have done throughout our history on Normies Like Us, throughout the holiday season, every single Star Wars movie up and through 9, as that was coming out contemporarily. So we've also done Lord of the Rings during that time, Harry Potter, etc. So check that out during the holiday season. But really, the holiday that matters more than any other, above all, of course, is Life Day. And that's what we're here to talk about.
Happy Life Day, you guys.
Happy Life Day.
Happy Life Day, you guys.
Yeah. Happy Life Day, everybody.
Before we jump in, as we always do, we kind of go around and we do our histories. We'll throw it to our guests first and say, BC, like, you'd seen this before?
No. This was a brand new experience for me. The entirety of my sort of history with this is just the lore that surrounds it being awful, which I think is kind of everybody's experience is like, hey, this is the worst thing that Star Wars has ever done. George Lucas hates it. And I just never sought it out in any way. The only thing I have seen is when Disney Plus released the Boba Fett cartoon where they're like, this is okay enough for the world to see on
This
the Disney
counts.
platform.
Right.
Yeah, they're like, we've got, the Book of Boba Fett's coming in. Let's throw a little Boba Fett out there. So I had seen that, but in terms of what this actually was, I went in pretty blind and was shocked, honestly, by my experience with this. Adam and I, we watched it. We hit play at the same time together, and we're discording as we watched it, and it was a I would say memorable experience, but I was just so befuddled the entire time.
Yeah.
That the memories are just coming back in waves of what I watched and experienced during this thing.
Adam, first time for you?
I had attempted to watch it before and was kind of like, wow, I wasn't prepared for it to be this slow. Like I'd heard it was slow. So I gave up. Always intending to return, but yeah, this is the first time I got the full experience, and I think it was worth the journey this time.
Maybe a one time only, one-way trip.
Gotta get it out.
Excited to finally have knocked this off my list. If I can jump in on the Normies Like Us side here. Also, had never seen it. I watched it Han Solo, which was daunting. But we got through it, and there's a lot to discuss. But yeah, what a thing, and it is slow.
Mike, you watched it Han Solo. You mean you watched it with your dog trying to get back to your house?
In a cardboard ship, yes. Yeah. Correct. But Colin, how about you? Did you see this before?
I somehow knew that this had hit YouTube like 6 years ago or something. So this had kind of become an annual tradition. I skipped it last year. I don't remember. But I've watched it I've thrown it on at parties and stuff, watched it with family members. This time alone in my apartment, like by myself, interminable, Adam. Like the pace of this thing, we're going to talk about it. Like there are moments where I'm watching where I'm like, well, no, but like, it can't truly just be like this. Like what is happening? So I don't know. Jacob, how about you?
Yeah, for me, I knew some things about it, but this is my first time watching it from start to finish. And, I knew there was Wookiees. I knew B. Arthur was in it. And I had seen that Boba Fett animation.
Yes.
I think the thing that just strikes me is just, it's so fascinating to see what they thought audiences would want to see in a Star Wars special in 1978. And just keep in mind that this was made between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. So this is like literally the second Star Wars thing ever made.
Well, you don't know what Star Wars is yet.
Right. Yoda did not exist when this was made, right?
Nor did Boba Fett. Well, he did after it was done, but yes. Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, so they took some bold leaps, let's say, and we'll have to discuss whether or not they landed. But now that we got kind of the backgrounds out of the way, I say there's no way to do this but to go ahead and hit hyperspace and talk.
Well,
the
Mike, the episode of The Incredible Hulk, I'm sad to say, will not be playing tonight because instead you will be jumping ahead and seeing the special presentation of Normies Like Us coming up.
Happy Life Day to you too. Okay.
We're back here on Normies Like Us talking, as we said up top, CBS presents Holiday Special Presentation. That's right. It's the Star Wars Holiday Special. This incredibly 70s thing that we're going to talk about. Important to note, listeners, this isn't maybe legally available anywhere. If you have your VHS at home, fantastic to you. Write into us at the end, as we always want people to write in. That's incredible. I would love to know if somebody actually physically has this. But if you haven't seen this, pause this episode. It is fully on YouTube. Again, not saying it's licensed or blah, blah, blah. They're not taking it off. It doesn't seem like it's on there a bunch of different ways. So jump in and watch this thing. Because
I think Disney
is a treat.
Just tries to ignore that it exists, right?
Well, George Lucas was trying to buy every copy and bury it. So if you do write in and say that you have a copy, use a pseudonym and a different address because he will come looking for you, I think. He doesn't have much to do.
I think Disney is too embarrassed to even try to copyright claim the copy on YouTube.
They don't want to admit that they even own it. Right.
Yeah.
The version I watched was in 60 frames a second. It's running smooth.
High frame rate.
Give me that upscaled 4K.
Beautiful copy.
If George needs to restore anything, it's probably this. Put in a couple more
Add a
CG
bunch of
creatures.
CG crap in the background.
Replace
Yeah.
that acrobat, segment with something
Yeah,
interesting.
you're gonna want a 4K rendition of something that was shot on 70s like reel to tape, Meg studio cameras.
Yeah.
Because let's talk about this holiday special. Was produced, as we said, for television. Jacob said up top, it's the second thing ever produced for Star Wars. That's because Star Wars comes out in May 1977, as I'm sure you guys have mentioned on your podcast all the time. It's just a film called Star Wars. There's no A New Hope or anything crazy like that on there. It's this solo thing, and it's kind of a phenomenon. And a bunch of people, I would imagine, on cocaine get together and go, well, let's make some money off this thing, and let's make a holiday special.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's revolving around the Wookiee holiday of Life Day. It's kind of an analog for your Christmas, your Hanukkah, your winter solstices, things like that. We don't learn a lot about the practices of said holiday till maybe the very end.
We hear a lot of
Can I
people
just
talk about it.
interject real quick
Yes.
about just the idea that this is a holiday special? I feel pretty festive during the month of December, and we can say holiday special right up top. But did anyone else get filled with the sense of Life Day or the holidays in any way at all? Because I found that a little lacking in my holiday special.
Yeah,
it's more of a variety hour with some Life Day stuff thrown in at the end. And
2 hours with commercials.
BC, when you go home for the holidays, your grandfather's there. He sits in his chair and he openly watches porn.
He watches the softcore porn.
That was the most relatable part of the entire thing, if I'm being honest. But the rest of it is kind of lost me on holiday tradition.
I was going to say, did I hallucinate or did he watch some VR porn?
That happened. There's so many things that I thought I
episode.
hallucinated that happened.
Yeah.
There's so many things like, what? I mean, we get acrobats playing off of like an octagon of cassette tape players. That there's like we went to Radio Shack and put together some tape players, and then Cirque du Soleil happens for a not insignificant amount of time.
Bill
too
Tippett,
long.
really great
VFX
costumes, genius. In that first film, he creates the hollow chessboard, right? And they see that and go, "How can we top it? How can we top it?" And they come up with they top it.
Yeah, and let me underline, there is a through line to this, if you can call it that. But the through line, which they get distracted from very frequently. Maybe there's a fan edit that's like a 12-minute cut of this. But the plot, as you can call it, is Chewie needs to get home for Life Day to his family. He's got his wife Mala, his son Lumpy, and his father Itchy. His dad. So he's trying to get back for Life Day. He's with Han Solo, and he's running a little late, and the family's start to get worried. So they start phoning all of his friends. You've seen them, or they phone him and say, "Where's Chewbacca?" That kind of thing. So you get guest appearances and variety show elements. But the thing is, will Chewbacca get home in time for Life Day? There's not really a plot, though. I just had to say that there was.
And boy, was I on the edge of my seat waiting to find out if he was going to get there.
And so was everyone
the writers
else.
certainly were. There's no sense of tension.
Slowly whittling X-wings.
Am I going to get there?
You know that feeling when you're with your family on a holiday and you're waiting for that one late family member to get there, and you're just doing anything you can to distract you. You're watching cooking videos, VR porn, like I said.
The police come in and bust up your house, typical holiday shit.
You're also playing with models of war toys, like actual like jets that are used in combat, and then you watch a cartoon that I believe is about your dad's best friend.
Yeah.
Which I guess it's bizarre that he's using X-Wing toys. Like if the Empire comes through, they're like, those were used against us.
Hey,
I think you're a sympathizer.
What is this?
That's some propaganda right there.
Yeah,
but
some rebel propaganda.
Yes, but let's start with a guest, BC. General thoughts about this thing. Anything that stands out, anything you want. You could jump around really, but it's a beast.
I think my biggest takeaway watching this was that they showed up on the day of filming and thought this was supposed to be 8 minutes long. And then someone from the network said, no, this is a 2-hour special. And the day of filming, they were just like, we just got to stretch this. So while you're walking around your Wookiee apartment, we're just going to shoot you walking for extended periods of time. while the Cirque du Soleil occurs, we're going to let them do the entire act. We need
what's
Jefferson
the day in the
Starship
life of a
to sing
Wookiee?
every verse. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like there's like vamp, just vamp. We got. I mean, we've got 8 minutes in the can. We do need another hour and a half of filmed footage for this. Because there's so much time where, Adam, you were right. It is just so slow. I mean, at a certain point, you're like, what are we doing? Like, why are we just walking around them? The beginning is just Wookiees walking around. You have no context really for what's going on. And they're just kind of like pointing at stuff, and you're like,
no subtitles. Yeah, that's
nothing.
what really
No context for what they're talking about. A lot of
Who
pointing
are
and
these
grunting.
people?
It's like
you get. Oh, sorry. Go.
Oh, not important, but it's just like an Adult Swim like bit you'd find in the middle of the night, like running for too long.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
Wookiee dialogue.
Bigfoot's family, and you'd be like, "Oh, interesting. Somebody made this."
Well, this thing opens with you get one scene of Han and Chewie in the Millennium Falcon. Then we cut to the house, the Wookiee household, the Millennium Falcon. Yeah.
Big air quotes on that.
I hate to
Millennial
stop you right
Falcon.
there,
Yeah.
It opens with a traditional Star Wars crawl of like, here it is, but the traditional Star Wars music to of ba 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 really loses its power when the CBS announcer has to come and be like, "It's the Star Holiday Special,
Right.
with Nala and Lumpy," and you see them turn and smile and kind of do character silhouettes and cutaways.
Like it's SNL.
Then it gets to Han Solo, like
Well,
it
Colin,
is fucking
just
the
in case you
daytime
thought
players.
in case you thought those names were stupid or silly, I'll have you know that those are actually there's longer Wookiee names for each of them. You know how Chewbacca, he's called Chewie. So they're like Ichikala and Lumpawala. So they all have long Wookiee names.
Lumpawala.
I don't know if that's it specifically, but I know they have full Wookiee names that we don't hear in this special.
Sure.
But when we cut to the family, it's just, I think, about 10 to 15 minutes of no subtitled Wookiee dialogue. Three Wookiees conversing between themselves.
It's an art film.
Yeah.
It's kind of
an art film for sure.
And you're supposed to infer what's going on by watching what they're doing and just pick up on context clues of like what they're saying to each other. It is insane.
We talked to Avatar last week. They could have benefited from some papyrus subtitles,
Right.
I'm saying.
Yeah. See, James Cameron knows you got to subtitle those whales,
Yep. Otherwise, how are we supposed to connect with the culture of... I don't even think they're on Kashyyyk. That planet didn't even have its name. It's a different even planet than what we've come to know, right, Adam?
They do say Kazook at one point, which is, that's one way of saying Kashyyyk. I think it is canon. I think it's maybe even the correct way.
That's how they say it. Wow.
We say quesadilla on Tatooine, but it's right.
We see a couple shots of their outside of their house, and it's a little tree house, right, in a tree, and that looks like a Kashyyyk tree.
It's like they took a Ralph McQuarrie image that was done on a postcard and like blew it up, to the size.
Yeah.
It's like,
we need a wide establishing
rotoscoping
shot
out there.
Can we just get a color picture drawing for the wide shot? Great.
You guys did map paintings, right? We'll just get a Xerox.
So we get our first moral quandary here, I'm going to say, of the Star Wars universe even maybe, which is like, oh, what's this now? Chewie is Han's first mate. They are outlaws. They live on a planet that is occupied by villains, Nazis, fascists. And like, he has a wife who like has to like vacuum the living room and like turn on like a thing to be like, is my husband's spaceship nearby? He's not. Well, back to vacuuming. I have a son. And just like when you watch those movies, guys, like Adam, when you were a kid, were you like, well, Chewie's married. I know that much. Like he has a family, he has a son, people in his life.
It is so funny that George Lucas hates this so much, and is like, I had nothing to do with it. But what he did have to do with was like, this is going to be about Chewbacca's family. That's what he wanted. Because Wookiees are didn't think about that, and I certainly didn't think that Wookiees.
all about Wookiees, right? If I'm correct, he wanted to make a fully Wookiee movie that was just delving into the lives
Ewok, the Caravan of Adventure, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I want to see that. I want to see George Lucas's Wookiee movie with an Avatar budget, just like
Oh man, Kashyyyk. But we learned a lot about their culture,
Yeah, like that they just
Did
live
we?
in like 1970s apartments and live life just
Yeah.
like human beings. Like,
Several
watch
different
TV,
view
they-
screen apparatuses,
Yeah.
many view screen
Lots of
apparatuses.
screens.
I was
Yeah.
the amount of screens I think was cutting edge for the 70s
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and really foretold of the lives that we are living today. I found it the most relevant aspect of no matter where you turn, there's going to be a screen showing you something that is not the apartment that you can just watch and cut to and go to a different land. Everywhere.
You can
Constantly
move
finding new
books
screens.
aside, yeah, and find a screen that was hidden away, and you're like, "Here's my hidden screen."
Yeah, I often
It's like that.
find
It's like
myself-
the old iPad you forgot you had that you never boot up anymore. You're like, oh yeah, I got that over there. You can still turn that on if you plug it in. They have those just laying around everywhere.
Yeah, and I can walk up to a smart refrigerator and forget what I'm there for and just watch Jefferson Airplane for 6 minutes. Oh wait, what was I doing? You know?
What was I doing? Where am I?
Or an imperial PSA about closing time at the bar on Tatooine.
Yeah.
Okay, the setup for that, I thought, while I've got it, is that is what the Empire wants people to be watching, and then we cut into B. Arthur's weird scene there, but it's presented as
Closing
like this-
time.
Yeah, it's like closing time with B. Arthur and the guy who drinks out of the hole in his head.
Mhm.
But it's like the Empire is requiring everyone on the planet to watch this. You're like, they are? Why?
The
Yeah.
arts
You have a
budget
deal
of the
with
Empire
CBS?
is
Yeah, like
It is weird. It's like a
really
documentary
weirdly allocated.
about life on Tatooine, right?
I think it's supposed to, it's just supposed to inform you that the curfew should be taken seriously.
It's-
But
I
still
mean,
try to enjoy your lives, and
it's
enjoy
Cheers,
the
though.
melancholy.
In space, they have their version of Cheers. They watch it and they're like, "This is great."
Well, and you see some of the exact people or the exact aliens that were in the cantina in Star Wars. And so we're just supposed to believe B. Arthur was there behind the bar the whole time.
She runs
Yeah.
the day shift.
She's the owner. Did
She opens the bar in the morning. Yeah.
That's right.
And the
We were
We're
curfew
trying to
hits
figure
at
out if
noon.
we saw any cut footage from episode 4 and maybe if some of that bar stuff was from the original like cantina shoot that got scrapped or whatever.
Well, I mean, some
David-
of the shots are from direct, like the Wolfman
Yeah.
shot, and like some of those aliens are directly.
Oh,
from
really?
Star
There
Wars.
I was gonna
was
say
there was a Vader
David Prowse
shot.
is credited. Vader.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, there was a Vader shot that looked new or looked like I hadn't seen
Oh,
it.
interesting.
He seems
in a
shorter.
movie, yeah.
It wasn't David
Maybe
Prowse.
that's unused.
Yeah, it's just a guy they put in the suit who's very normal height.
No, it was definitely from the real set. It was just like he was walking a different direction.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess what we could do is break down the vignettes that they force us to cut to, because there's a lot of
Yes.
segments. So
Yeah.
what does come first? What's the first screen we look
Wookiee
at?
home life.
Well,
and then that
yes.
transitions to
I think the first thing is
Cirque du Soleil?
Chewbacca's young son Lumpy is watching that hologram of the acrobats. Is that the first thing?
I
Uh-huh.
The
think
acrobats?
I think
He's
the
annoying.
first thing is
He's annoying his grandfather and has to go look at his acrobats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't
Grandfather
but
wants to watch porn.
Isn't first
Get away
He
from
gets
doesn't
delivered.
doesn't
they're gonna-
Mala kind of have to go like, oh, what is going on? And isn't the first thing first she calls Mark Hamill and we like get our Luke Skywalker check in?
I
Oh,
think
that-
that takes a while.
I think
Oh,
it takes a little
really?
bit to get
Yeah,
there.
I
I
think
really
it's
do.
definitely
Which was the
after
bad idea.
Acrobats.
That's the last 30 minutes. Yeah.
I think we do get billing in the beginning, starring Mark Hamill.
it's
starring
over Harrison Ford, who's in it first.
No, but
Yeah.
it's funny that
Also-
it's starring them, and Harrison Ford gets 3 scenes. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill and
Clearly,
Carrie
he
Fisher
He
get
had to
2.
do the most work in this thing.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Carrie Fisher sings a song.
That was by choice, apparently.
Oh, man.
She,
Like,
she
just let me
wanted
sing a
to
song,
do that.
man.
She
Hey,
she
while I'm
wanted
here,
to do
should
that.
I? And they're all like, okay.
Give me the
And of
mic.
course, we also have the Chewbacca family human friend, Art Carney, who shows up, the salesman, and gives them some Life Day gifts, right?
Yeah, he
I
gets like
love
a
Art
15-minute
Carney.
scene of his own. Oh yeah, BC, tell us about
Art
your
Carney's
Carney
so
look.
good.
Yeah.
No, he's
He's-
fun in
he's-
this.
He holds it down. He's like a proto Luthen, you know, for our Andor
That's
heads
what we
out there.
decided.
Yo.
Yeah,
This
he's
is
got
Luthen.
early Luthen vibes. Clearly was an inspiration for the character, and probably Stellan Skarsgård's performance. I imagine he went to this as source material.
Right.
That is
yeah,
the
you
most
don't like the
salient
Empire.
point. No, there is for after seeing Andor and then watching this for the first time, there's shades of like Life under the Empire, huh? They'll like come check your house. They'll send messages to the TV, and you got
Right.
Luthen. That's really
You have to do all
sharp.
this weird, these like bits, these old character bits to sneak
Yeah.
by.
Oh,
And
100%. Yeah, yeah.
San Dane, I believe that's his name, right? Sane Dan, something like that. San Dane. He's a traveling salesman or something, and he helps them get out of some. He kind of helps them stall with the Empire, so they're not, they don't discover Han or Chewie.
in the plot of this.
The most
Yes.
riveting sequence is literally stalling.
Oh, that ID,
Yeah.
that picture was taken 20 years ago. Oh my God, our card is
Yeah.
doing like fucking shtick.
Oh man, yeah. It's
Of course,
like
then
I hate fish. Yeah, I have a drink every once in a while. Like he's doing these weird jokes, you know. It's
Not
funny.
scripted.
He's an
No
affable
way.
guy.
Yeah.
So we get a little, Lumpy is watching the acrobats. Then we have Itchy watching, like we said, some VR softcore porn
Softcore.
where the lady's like, "Oh, I love you," and he keeps repeating the
You
part
sure
where she
seem
says,
excited.
"Yeah."
She calls him
And then she sings a
adorable
song.
or something, and that's what he
Yes.
rewinds.
She does. She
Like-
says it gives me pleasure that you created me. I feel that you created me. And then I was like, what does that mean?
It's a cyberpunk. It's pulling from his deepest desires, which implies
might
that the
be.
Wookiee Itchy himself, his deepest desire is a humanoid female.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not
Stay
another
away
Wookiee.
from Leia.
It should have been a
Itchy.
Wookiee lady, right?
Yeah, no, but Itchy.
Hey,
So she
don't be
kinda gives him-
close-minded over there.
Never.
No, if he's into humans,
The heart
that's more
desires
power
what it
to him.
desires.
Uh-huh.
Listen,
But,
we don't know a lot about Wookiee culture, but this seems perfectly acceptable to do in your living room. And who are
They're
we to
pretty open.
judge? It they're very open. I do want to say, just in appearance, Lumpy is disturbing.
Wow.
Itchy or Lumpy?
Oh, Itchy.
Hey,
Itchy. Sorry.
Itchy is the grandfather,
Grandpa.
I believe.
The
Both.
toothless, sort of like methed out, like
Weird way
sunken
his mouth
face
moves.
Wookiee,
Their
Yeah.
mouths
like
were not meant to be seen on modern televisions.
No.
He got into the spice
60
in his
frames a
20s.
second.
It's, you know.
yeah, it's been a rough ride for Itchy.
It made me want to ask you guys, does Peter Mayhew do the noises he does as Chewbacca? Because it must be hard to find people that can do that, right?
Yeah, no, he doesn't really. He like there's footage of him and he'll say things like, "Oh, what are you doing over there, mate?" That's like more the straight
Make
dialogue.
that cut.
They should
Nice.
have left that in.
There are some grunts and things it'll do is like, "Ah!"
Han, we gotta go.
But he doesn't
Rah.
really try to do the voice.
You're
Yeah,
like, oh shit.
That's
Yeah,
sound
he's-
department.
All I can think is, watching the Solo, a Star Wars story, when he's in that like jail and he's like eating people and stuff, or they say that he ate people. I was like,
Mhm.
did he have a family at that point too? Like he has a wife and a son waiting at home. He's just Man.
eating
humanoids.
people.
I'm sure
I
Itchy
feel
would
like
have something to say about
Lumpy
that.
was a whoopsie baby. I mean,
Ah.
I feel like it was. I feel like it maybe was not. It was a marriage of convenience, sort of a shotgun wedding kind of thing, where they settled into a life together after he impregnated.
He just
Mom.
pointed. He pointed at her stomach and said, "Lumpy."
Yeah, he's like, all right, well, that's what we're calling.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
think BC? Do you think Itchy is his dad or his father-in-law?
I think Itchy is who he would commonly refer to as his father, but it's not biological.
Mhm.
I don't.
I
I
think
don't
that's
think
just
it's
some old
biological.
Wookiee that lives with them.
He's
Yeah.
the guy who raised him.
He
I
raised
admit-
him.
Ah,
Definitely raised him, but I don't think that's his biological father.
That's why
okay.
I wonder if it is socially acceptable to be watching that VR porn, or if he's just
I
like
think it's fine.
an old
Just
man
a
who's
guy.
like
Oh,
being
he's
creepy in
hanging out.
public.
he's
right?
broken. We can't even like talk about it. Yeah,
We
Yeah.
never saw the inside of the Wookiee households necessarily in the prequels. The VR
No.
porn machines are just off camera. I'm
It's really
positive.
it's upsetting. It's like it's so explicit.
It's truly
It's-
disturbing.
it's
like no,
really-
it's unnerving that it is what it is. Like when it happens, you're kind of like, where are we going? Because all of these
Yeah.
like weird things are just plot devices to get these guest stars as part of this variety show in, right?
Right,
Like that's
Right.
that's the
Pee-wee's
nature of what the
Playhouse
holiday
style.
special is. Like we're gonna
Yeah.
get these guest stars to come in, and people are tuning in to see them, but they're not because it's Star Wars. That's why people are tuning
I
in.
think
No,
they're
they'll all
tuning
play
in to see Luke and
holograms.
Leia and Han.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's like, how are we going to get people excited about this thing? Well, let's put that freakazoid-looking Wookiee costume guy in a VR headset and have him fantasizing about a human woman singing to him as he's entering this like virtual pleasure chamber. And at a certain point, I think we probably should have hit the brakes in the writer's room and said, "Is this what we should
This
be
is
doing?"
a family
What
special.
are
right?
we doing here?
Yeah.
What is this?
They're like,
Ian
this
Malcolm
isn't your
would have
normal
something to
life
say.
day celebration?
I like
It's
to
an
imagine it
individual
all
birthday?
happened accidentally. Like somehow on set on the day it was really hot in there.
Steve,
You know?
Steve,
It's just
you
magic was
cut in that
happening.
footage of that woman that you shot that POV stuff of her talking to you.
I
I
told him he
told
was
you to
watching
throw
the
that away.
nature documentary of the homeland. We were directing him to
What are you
react.
talking about? Here's the thing. It begs the question in episode 3 when Yoda is riding that Wookiee. Did one of those guys just come back from jacking off to VR porn?
I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah, I think it's
assume they
unequivocally,
did.
yeah.
Then
Yes.
an invasion of robots happened. They were like, I got to get out of here. And one guy exited with the helmet still on. And they were like, we know what you were doing, dude.
There's
Right.
clearly
That's
a
like-
retail product scaled to Wookiee size that is sold enough to be deliverable. So is
It's
that
one of the
informs
only
something in the
appliances
economy?
in the household.
Yes.
Aside from screens. It's like,
Yes. That isn't like made of bamboo, Adam.
Screens in one pot. Yeah, that's all
that
you got in your
apartment
house.
was beautiful. I'd live there. I love a nice.
Honestly,
70s
yeah. To
apartment.
be charitable, it's a like cute little set. I guess
a nice
reminds me of
place,
the
yeah.
Dinosaurs TV show. Kind of this weird.
I guess Chewie makes
Wooden.
enough money as a rebel to afford this house.
He's calling them, Jacob. He's like checking in your mind.
Yeah.
In between every time he's not on screen in the original trilogy, he's checking on his family.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Lumpy. Sorry, we got to go because remember, I kind of own your father. He owes it like that to me. So
He's kind
I'm
of
gonna
like
go
my
take him to
pet.
smuggle drugs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But no, Han says like you guys are like family to me. He says that a few times, so we know that.
A few too many, I think.
Yeah, he was probably
Yeah.
best man at Chewie's
Lumpy,
wedding.
it's Uncle
Yeah.
Han. You're like, oh, don't. Han's been drinking. He's been
Han
smoking
picks up
death
Lumpy
sticks.
before Chewbacca does, and he has to hand him over to him. And I'll go to
Yeah.
your dad.
He does.
He's the cool uncle.
Yeah, what are
Maybe
you
Han
hugging me
Solo's
for?
the dad.
But of course,
But,
we get
yeah.
Mala, Chewie's wife, watches a little cooking video to kind of distract herself from worrying about her husband, I assume.
She calls
Uh,
Luke before that, correct? That,
okay,
like, we
yeah.
get the acrobats, then she talks to Luke, I guess. Is
Huh?
where we can...
What? Molly? Huh?
Of course, they can't understand Wookiee.
What's
Only
going
Han
on?
can understand Wookiee. Yeah.
And Mark Hamill is having a very hard time.
Yeah,
He
they got
looks
the smoke
weird.
machine. Well, that's right after the
Yeah.
accident, correct?
Yeah, that's my fiance said. Why couldn't they get Mark Hamill?
Oh
The stunt double.
I was like, no,
Yeah.
he just has on a lot of makeup.
A lot of makeup,
and
yeah.
he looks weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I said before, May 1977, Star Wars, the movie comes out. January 1977, before that film even releases, he gets in his accident. He's shooting that movie Corvette Summer. He's driving his car, blasts himself, says, I'll never have a career again. You know, my face is completely destroyed. All Star Wars content going forward. I mean, we only truly got the one movie with Mark Hamill. And, you know, God bless him. He's figured out a way past it. I think it truly kind of seemed to give him some weird body dysmorphia stuff, but I think he's past that, hopefully.
And he luckily
I always
has
thought it
the golden pipes, so he's had a lot of
Yeah.
clear voice acting.
right.
Pivoted that way, it seemed. Yeah.
I always thought it made him look cooler as Luke
Yeah, I did
Skywalker.
too. I
You know,
always
he's got,
thought-
like,
I
battle
thought he looked-
scars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looked awesome.
What
But I
other?
gotta
I
give
mean,
him-
we were talking about Avatar. What other franchise, Mike, could you ever have where it's like, what happened to your lead by movie 4? It's like he was in an accident. He looks like a badass now. It's like, oh, well, write that in. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Wampa got him, right? But I got to give him credit. He's trying to do a lot with this. He's doing the most out of any of the original cast, I think, with
He's
the
yelling.
task. Well, his interactions with R2 and this engine, like it feels very much like Luke in the old homestead. To me, at least, I don't know.
It seems
Yeah.
like by personality he would be the most game for it. But you know, I think Harrison Ford is the fact that he has to do the the holding a Wookiee in his arms and
he's
it's
got
just
the
all
heaviest
so awkward.
storytelling lifting to do among the cast, where it's like,
Mhm.
all right, you are the emotional core of this story. Which is why he says he cares about this family so much, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yes.
But like you do get like a little glimmer of like, hey, there's a little bit of Han Solo in there.
Yeah,
a little
I'm
bit.
sure they had to sort of like drag Harrison Ford into doing this. And I think really during which we'll get to the Boba Fett cartoon, but his voiceover in that is pretty rough, where it just sounds like he could not give a shit less about.
Well, they saw how they drew his face, and he was like, "Nope, not interested."
Right.
It's like the Blade
Can
Runner
I fall
thing.
asleep?
Yeah, the Blade Runner voiceover.
I'm going to do
he
the
does
worst
not wanna do.
voiceover so they won't use it.
All right,
in
here we
season.
go.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has to say things like, I've never had you been late to Life Day yet, have I, Chewie? On that whole back and forth.
That was a good
There's
one.
a little bit of
That was a
Han
really
Solo.
good-
It implies he's done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or again, the line I remember was, "Why do I always think it's going to be easy getting you home for Life Day?"
What are you
What about the
talking
other
about?
times? Was it
Always
crazy?
hard.
So
And again,
yes.
Listeners, if you have not watched this, I want to harp on it more and more, just to say, as BC and Adam are pointing out, like the look of this thing, when you guys keep saying the cardboard set, it is shot with these cameras, the lights, you kind of like can't see anything. Like it's so extreme. It just looks terrible.
I mean, shot for
extremely
TV
cheap.
in 1978, and it definitely looks like that, right?
Yeah. So she calls Luke, or hey, Chewbacca's not here. We kind of get that plot beat. He's messing around with R2D2. He's got an engine with a smoke machine hooked up to it. It's not going well. So he's like, I got to get off the phone, fix this engine. So then she's like, I got to watch this bizarre cooking show to make my banta.
The same actor, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think so. The actor in the cooking show is Harvey Korman, right? And
Oh,
he's
okay.
He's doing a weird character.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just I like to put myself in the mindset of the viewer in 78. How great must it have felt to see Luke Skywalker, your hero,
Oh God.
after having seen the movie, and then immediately cut to Harvey Korman doing a cooking show in Chewbacca's living room.
Yeah.
How cool must that have been for the child who had been longing for anything Star Wars since they saw the greatest movie of all time on the big screen, and now they're getting cut from Luke Skywalker to a comedy bit of a cooking show in Chewbacca's living room.
What the people want.
Yeah. BC brings up an amazing point, because if you do think about it, at this time of 1977, where you're a kid growing up and it's like you like sci-fi stuff, it's mostly books. You're checking out that stuff. You're listening to the radio serials, the same stuff that's inspiring George Lucas. This thing comes out and you're like, holy shit, this fits. I don't know that I'm ever going to get any more. I don't know what like franchise blockbuster movies are. This is incredible. And then your mom comes down the stairs and says, I got the best fucking news in the world to you. This Christmas, we get more on TV. Your hero's back. Happy Life Day. You're like, what?
Longer running time than the film, maybe.
Yeah. Can't wait to watch this.
Psyched out of my mind.
Yeah.
I mean,
can only imagine the reactions that children had watching this thing and being like, what? This isn't Star Wars. What is this?
It's going to get to the movie, or like, what is this?
Yeah.
Well, my favorite song is, stir, whisk, whisk, stir, or whatever.
Yeah. We get some early trans representation. We get Harvey Korman in full drag,
as a
playing
four-armed woman.
Playing a Futurama character, playing like just like straight on like sci-fi parody.
This is intergalactic cable content.
Yeah.
Everything in this is Rick and Morty intergalactic cable. That's what the Wookiees
he's like
what they're
four-armed
watching.
Julia Child cooking some kind of Wookiee turkey.
A bantha roast.
The bantha roast.
Yeah. And the loin is good, but if you have a family with a larger appetite, you could go for the also popular holiday rump. Yeah.
The loin or the rump, yeah.
Of
course.
And stir whisk.
Just keep going, Harvey. Keep going, Harvey. That's great.
Chop it into bite-sized pieces. Only you know what a bite is in your household. Yeah.
I mean, when the surprise arms come out, I mean, you got to give it up for that, though. I mean, that's good stuff.
What a reveal.
Surprise arms? Come on.
Who doesn't like surprise arms? Yeah,
come on. That's great.
Yeah, get the roast ready. Just trying to keep her mind off the stress of not knowing where the father of her child. Her
My
husband.
husband's a coyote, like a modern day like smuggler, or
He's like a guerrilla
maybe
fighter.
maybe like a drug runner, or yes, maybe like a guerrilla fighter. So of course, obviously, I have to go back to cooking this pot roast.
He's the Pablo
I know he
Escobar of
just-
Kashyyyk.
Blew up a giant space station, but some stormtroopers might swing by at some
The
point.
most wanted person in the galaxy now because he's been hanging out with space priests. You're like, I don't know what any of that
Right.
means.
Yeah, so it's got a lot of heat. And there is heat. And there's a blockade put up after the cooking, right? The Empire has a presence here. We see it at the old shop. He's trying to sell him like a universal trimmer because he has a mustache? That's a whole bit.
Hang on, Chewie. I'll park on the south side of Kashyyyk. Whoosh.
Right. So then we
On
gotta
the south
have-
side of the planet?
Does he say park?
I
I bet he
He
does.
might.
Park.
Could be.
Well, then we get the fake out, right? Where we think, oh, they're finally home, Han and Chewie. And then who's at the door? It's the Imperials. And
What a
they're
great moment.
yeah.
tensions
Talk
are
about
rising.
Tension.
Talk about filmmaking. What a cut. Subverting expectations. Terrifying seeing a stormtrooper at the door.
Absolutely.
I don't
Again,
think
shades
it's the
of Andor.
case. But their
Andor.
armor is so beat up. And at one point they walked by and I thought maybe their ankles were just painted white for the boots for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Empire, they're not putting their best soldiers on Kashyyyk for what.
Well, oh, you don't think in this Diary of Anne Frank-esque scene, you don't think they're taking this seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Christoph Waltz from Inglourious Bastards coming in trying to find
Where are your papers?
Chewbacca. Yeah.
And he's talking to Bigfoot. He's talking to, Bigfoot's wife.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
they say, you know what?
Cousin
I don't
Ed.
have papers, but what I do have is this sweet video player. You want to look at a screen?
Got him.
Yeah.
Do you guys like Jefferson Starship? Watch
Figured
this.
out
Yeah.
The greatest defense is entertainment.
Oh, is it time
Mild
for the
entertainment.
concert? Put it on. Oh,
And he
great.
just
Right. So
watches
we get
the whole thing.
the Jefferson Starship. Is that next? I guess
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
And that was, you know what? I like that song. They were jamming out. I was like, this is like no jizz music I've ever heard. This is great.
I thought that
Yeah,
song
yeah.
was mediocre as hell.
Everything's filmed crazily, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm glad you appreciated it. I had a
Look,
hard
I
time
appreciate
getting
it.
in the groove. but
Yeah.
I think that's the Wookiees were loving it.
They'll
this
go
is
on
an
to
era-
live off of White Rabbit residuals for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
I
Right,
just
right.
thought, not to knock the art department or props team, we could have done something to the guitars to make them a little Star Wars.
Right.
Some
Well, I think
stickers.
they-
I mean, anything.
But this is the lesson that Andor learned. They said we're gonna put some extra toots and whistles on our flutes and saxophones to make Star Wars because we saw the holiday special and those are just Earth guitars and
I think
bass.
the producers of this were like, all right, we need a musical act. Jefferson Starship? Well, that sounds pretty sci-fi to me. Let's sign them up.
Boom!
So-
That's money in the bank every time.
Yeah,
Star.
I don't
Great
think
name.
any concept in this went beyond the first thought. So that tracks to
Yeah.
me. And with Starship? Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Throw them in
But
there,
they
have them
do,
play a 6-minute song. Yeah.
Man, yeah, this is
It's
the era
long.
of 6-minute songs, people. You had to watch it all. And the Empire
It's a
loved
long
it.
They were
song.
shredding. I was
the
into it.
Empire liked it, yeah.
Yeah, and then they
Wasn't
tossed
my
the
least
house.
favorite part.
What do we think about them
They-
tossing Lumpy's room? That's
Oh,
They
man.
That was
fucking
brutal.
ransack a child's
Rip
room.
the
Well, they're like,
Bantha
all right,
head.
let's distract Lumpy, have him watch a little cartoon while we trash his room looking
yes.
for.
This
Yeah.
this cartoon we commissioned about his father, the war criminal.
Yes.
Yeah, cartoon. That's a good.
So yeah,
point.
we get this original animation, which is the introduction of a little character you might have heard of named Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah.
the only thing you
Cartoon
can
is
really
metal.
hang your hat on as a Star Wars fan, I think, is this cartoon. I will say I was disappointed that Boba Fett is not canon as a four-fingered person like his cartoon
Yeah.
counterpart.
Avatar.
But they probably didn't have the budget to chop off Jeremy Bullock's digits for Empire Strom.
yeah. Commitment to
And
the
I
We
would
get
role.
this
sign up for that.
cartoon. We don't know who Boba Fett is at this point. He introduces himself as a friend.
Oh.
our heroes, right? And of course, C-3PO is like, hey, maybe we shouldn't trust this guy, and Luke's like, nah, it's probably fine. Like he called us friend.
He's only an animal abuser so far.
Yeah.
He called
Well, he's
this
also
thing
friend
the
to
lowest
animals.
life
Stupid
form.
animal.
Yeah.
He said
Adam-
to share your water with it makes you a fool, so I don't
Right.
trust him.
Adam, I do have a question for you though, because one thing I loved about this, besides the introduction of Boba Fett, and I mean love, we get the Y-wing and a new feature for a Y-wing. What do you think about that?
That two-seater Y-wing and the escape pod rocket.
Like that's cool that it could
the
become
shuttle,
a speeder.
yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that. It's
that
like
was
the
awesome.
Enterprise, the
Right.
I was a big fan
landing on
of
this
the
goop
Y-wing
planet.
coming out.
Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
seen that used again. I like to think that all Y-wings have an escape shuttle attachment. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
do
what's
we
crazy,
think this
too,
is
is-
canon? Were they looking for an amulet at one point in the Star Wars
I
universe?
think just this animation is canon in this whole thing.
So the upside down sleeping disease is canon.
I think it might be.
Yeah.
But I mean, with the character of Boba Fett, we also even get his classic rifle
Yeah,
fork
they kept
weapon
that.
thing.
Which you wouldn't see till the
Stuck that in
Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's crazy.
Now, I still don't know if this cartoon was directed by Mobius or if they're just ripping his style. My guess is they were just ripping his style, but it does look cool. I mean,
It looks
people's
cool.
faces are
The
like
faces
monsters.
are
Very heavy metal.
bizarre.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Han's face,
Aeon
like we
Flux.
mentioned earlier, is
Woo.
insane.
It's a little horsey.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
little long.
And he
Why the
doesn't
long
usually have
face?
eyes, just eyebrows.
Right.
I wouldn't mind some young Luke adventures because I love that yellow jacket. You guys
Yeah.
know I want to see him rocking that bad
Yellow
boy.
jacket era. Luke in
Yeah.
the comics right now, wielding
Yes.
his yellow lightsaber.
Let him wear his bucket hat that he only wore in deleted scenes of A New Hope.
Yeah,
Tashi
that,
Station. Yeah.
that I don't know.
Crazy that those characters from the deleted scenes returned, like in new
Right.
Star Wars media, hanging out at Tashi Station. Wild.
Wild.
Sometimes.
Yeah, is there
they
anybody
hometown.
else that originated in the Boba Fett cartoon, or is it we just kept Boba Fett?
No.
We see the mythosaur.
Don't you
which
kind
was
of
really
feel like,
shoved
Adam,
in.
that his relationship Vader's with Boba Fett's in Empire Strikes Back, with how much he trusts him, kind of is related to this? That's the only thing that I can kind of feel like might be the canon of it.
Yeah, his right hand man, they say in this.
You are a
explicitly
good
says,
bounty hunter.
I
You're
see
the best
why
bounty
you're-
hunter in the galaxy.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
hear Vader praising people often. So
And we
it
know,
says
but
a
we
lot.
know in Empire Strikes Back when he's hiring the other guys, he's like, "And you, Boba Fett, don't go crazy." He says that thing about like, "Don't kill
No
him." or whatever.
disintegration.
Like,
Disintegration.
yeah, what's your relationship with this guy? Maybe they work together, getting this fucking amulet.
Yeah.
We also
Wild.
get a rebel starship captain in the beginning who's kind of narrator, or he's kind of the frame story for this, where he's like, and of course we were on this adventure with our friends Luke and Han and everybody. And I
Yeah.
like his design. He's got like a big mustache and everything. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But this is definitely the highlight. Would be this cartoon. It doesn't.
It really is. Yeah.
It
It's
gives
a
you
low
couple
bar
of
for
lumens.
to jump over, though. To be fair, it's like,
Yeah,
what's this competing with? The
Right.
not for me, B. Arthur, honestly, but
Yeah.
yeah. Which that's why we're saving the best for near last.
Right. It was it's
Well.
pretty much the only part I can tolerate
The
up to this
best
point.
for me is
Yeah.
yet to come.
Great. Well, then so cartoon good. We think let's touch back again, Adam. The sacking of Lumpy's room. It doesn't seem they're searching for anything. They're just being
Just
destructive.
throwing shit off shelves.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah.
It's like at the beginning of this special where you have Wookiees kind of shuffling around. It's the same energy of just like send someone who's not really that excited to be there into a room and just say, I don't know, like you can just hear the director shouting. Although I guess it's on set audio, so. But yeah, it just seems like, I don't know, walk over there and kick it now.
Steve, any of this
Now
stuff
look
I
to
can
the-
knock off? The whole room.
do the whole room. Do the whole. We're gonna keep the camera rolling. The prop department, they don't have feelings. Don't worry about it. You can do literally whatever you
You've
want.
seen their
Your
work. They're
time.
not good.
They didn't try, so
You are
know.
the prop department. You built
Yeah.
it.
Just
Just jump on the
ripping them
ground.
apart in front of them.
Yeah.
Did we
Slower
get
and
it?
less
No, keep
intense.
going. You sure we need more? Keep going. Rip the head off. And he doesn't
So
look
you got
inside the
one take.
toy. He just rips its head
Is
off to be mean.
It's
Post-
so painful to watch.
Post ransacking though, is this where Mala checks in with Leia, or has she done this already? Did we skip that part?
It's
We might
hard
have
to
missed-
remember the exact.
Yeah, it's really
We'll touch on
hard
the
to
Leia thing
remember
before
all of
Lumpy
it.
fixes his computer.
I truly maybe think at this moment they leave and she calls and she's like, "Hey Leia," I don't know if she's saying this, but she's like, "Hey Leia, like a bunch of villains just ransacked my child's room," and Leia's like, "Huh?"
Where's Han?
Yeah,
And
BC.
C-3PO is like, "Madam," she basically said this. Where's Han? What's going on? And then, God bless her, Carrie Fisher attempts to stand up, gets around and goes like, "Mala, it's you." And you're like, "Oh no, what are we in for here?"
I like that she has no patience, BC, and that's why I want to ask you about this. She's like, can you get anyone but you on the phone?
I
She's
really
like,
can't. I don't know what you're saying.
This is
Yeah.
not gonna work.
I'm really hungover. Just get someone who can translate, please.
Yeah.
She didn't know she was there when she was filming it. I think is what was going on. Both her and Mark Hamill. This is why I think Harrison Ford shines so brightly. Is they look like they hated or were confused or were mentally like checked out from what was happening. There's death in their eyes. It's filmed. You can see.
Yeah.
You can see it. I mean, she brightens up a little when she does the singing, which she seemed to enjoy. But her little cut scene here,
Someone
is
did.
like Carrie, do you know where you are? Do you know what is happening right now?
Right. I'm sure she was up late the night before partying.
They
with the
filmed
Rolling
a
Stones or
call with the
whatever.
Or
producer
Dan
explaining the
Still up
special.
late.
Blues Brothers, yeah.
Yeah.
No, they called her. They said, all right, so this is the scene. And they just filmed it in the costume. It's like, what? Can you get someone else on the phone?
What's happening? Good. You're saying the lines.
Keep going.
Right.
You know, we'll write this into the script. Don't worry, we can just
You're
write around.
confused.
We'll have,
And then at this
we'll have
point,
Daniel's
at least-
ADR it and make it make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
And
need
I'm
at
trying to
least
remember-
3 solid minutes of the main cast to
Right.
put this special.
So
Yeah,
after this, I think we get Lumpy trying to work a translator device, and he watches a video manual of a robot guy explaining how this
It's-
works.
Fix it. Yeah.
Harvey
I
Korman-
cannot understand this at all. But
C-3PO sits down Carrie Fisher. We cut away from that, and then exactly like you said, we get more Harvey Korman footage, and it is just now at this point you are like, oh, like if I'm,
Oh, this
I
is
guess
the
it's
whole
not out
thing.
yet, but like you're like,
Yeah.
this is Saturday Night Live. This is old. Like Jacob, it would be dawning on you in this chaotic way of like, oh no, it's gonna end soon, and I
We're
haven't
an
gotten
hour
any
in.
Star Wars.
yeah, we've had 3 minutes of our main cast so far.
And 48 minutes of crazy, zany
What
cutaways.
is
And this is one of the
this?
roughest parts for me of just watching Harvey Korman explain how these circuit breakers work or something, and then he starts malfunctioning because he's like a humanoid robot. I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
This was fucking insane. I lost my mind at this point when I was
Yeah.
watching this. Like, what is going on? What are we
100%.
doing here? This
Again,
is-
as a kid, you're like, I think
sense.
Princess Leia's sick, Dad. They need to go back to her. And they're like, I don't know what's going on, son.
Life Day is ruined.
Galvanized.
Yeah, I tried to read what was happening there, and I don't understand less.
I think that device was like a Wookiee to human translator, so he's trying to make that work so that they could talk to Leia or Luke or somebody.
Mom, everyone in our life can't understand us. Why does Dad put us in this situation? And Grandpa's jacking off again.
Right.
So I'm a relatively intelligent person. I'm 36 years old watching this now. This makes absolutely no sense. If
No.
I'm 7 and I'm psyched out of my mind for Star Wars, I'm in the other room doing something else at this point.
Oh,
Because
yes.
Yeah.
When Harvey
I mean-
Korman starts like wigging out and like it's like malfunctioning, you're just like, as
It goes on
human,
for so long.
Now I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah,
as
it's
a
like minutes
child,
of
you're
this
like-
thing.
I gotta go use my imagination on something because this is psychotic.
Yeah,
I think I was supposed
this-
to take out the trash. That seems more fun.
Yeah. I'm gonna
I
go
mean,
do my
Dad.
homework or my
Yeah, my
dishes.
chores are here.
like
yeah.
more fun. I don't know. This is weird.
Yeah.
Star Wars is actively being destroyed from my mind right now.
Damn, they almost wrecked it
Yeah.
right out the gate.
And
It
this
was
being the
close.
second Star Wars thing ever, and this is what they come up with. This is what they thought audiences wanted to see for a holiday special in 1978. It's just, it blows my mind.
Yeah, there is a world again that looking through the Andor lens, I could see like something where they sack Lumpy's room and we're sympathetic and like they break something his dad gave him and you like but no, we have to have 40 minutes of cutaways and no, like there
The
could
cutaways
be a way to redo this. Yeah.
Cooking videos and instruction manuals. It's just like, who thought this was a good idea for minutes at a time in this special?
Again, think about you just making a movie. Adam, I'm making a movie about you. You get mugged on the subway. And then it cuts to you at home watching a video on YouTube. Then it cuts to you later watching a video on your computer. Then you watching a movie on your TV. I'd just be like, does this mean something? Is this he's obsessed with screens?
Yeah,
what is
there's a lot of
this?
screens.
I guess they predicted the amount
Stakes
of time
seem kind of
kids would
low
be
if
on
we
screens.
could just keep watching videos, you know?
Yeah. You don't have a lot of sympathy for that situation where you're like, his life seems okay. I mean, he's got a lot of content.
Well, it's like you
That's
said, they
true.
have about 8 minutes of plot and they had to stretch it to 2 hours. The
Yes.
whole plot is like they're worried about Han and Chewie being
They
late.
call
That's
two
the
of their
entire-
friends
Yeah.
and then they show
Imper-
up.
But
the
they didn't
Imperials
even
come
dress
around.
it in holiday dressing. You know, it'd
No,
be so easy to be like, hey, they're not going to make it home for Life Day. But instead, it's just, and
This is Wednesday.
there's no subtitles.
Right.
We are unmoored by the entire conversation that's happening with Wookiees, left to make inferences that are leaps at best in terms of what's happening. And it's taking, when you say minutes, those are the longest minutes of all time. It was we're going
yeah.
I guess I'm like, does the Empire feel awkward being in the house this long without like doing anything? I'm like,
Yeah.
why don't we tore up the kids' room? Like, do you want to watch the Jefferson Starship again, or is there another screen? Like,
Lieutenant,
they were here
we
for
keep
a long time.
terrorizing these people. I don't understand a word they're saying, though. And we're here, and they have just been talking to each other and talking. Oh, that one's putting on a concert video. Should we go? It's like, no,
I guess
get up
let's
there.
put on the show the Tatooine PSA, I guess.
Oh, God. Is it B. Arthur time? Did we get there?
I think
It's
so. I
time.
think that's next. We get
Did we miss anything before we get to the
I think
highlight?
they've checked in with Han a couple more times, but it's exactly what
Well,
we've
he's
said
getting
of
chased by the
just-
Empire,
yeah.
and then there's a blockade. Now it's a little trickier, and yet there's a couple
Yeah.
cutaways to stock footage. But,
Pew pew. Oh,
yeah,
got to park the
All right.
ship.
I'll get you there, buddy.
it's got to park the car.
On the south side.
On the
of
other
course,
side
then
of the
they,
planet, which they don't. It seems like they're there very quickly. It doesn't seem like
High-speed
they go
rail.
that
Right.
far
Yeah,
out of the way.
So it's gonna be a long walk.
Public transit on Kashyyyk is incredible. You just get to the other side of the world.
The Empire at least
Incredibly
laid
fast.
infrastructure. It's not
Good.
horrible.
Right. So, of course, they put on this. It starts as like a documentary about life on Tatooine, where they say this is we're not going to make any moral judgments, but this is life on Tatooine. And they show some like aliens walking around, and then they cut to the cantina from A New Hope, or Star Wars as it was called at the time. And we see all the different aliens there. We see the Jizz Band having a good time.
The
then we
mobile
have
nose in the flesh. Yeah.
That's right. Celebrities. And then we have B. Arthur working behind
Okay,
the
pause.
bar. Yes.
With B. Arthur. Star of Golden Girls. I love Golden Girls. I was obsessed with it as a kid. I have no idea why. I love B. Arthur's Dorothy character, especially.
Yeah.
My question for this podcast: do you guys think B. Arthur has seen Star Wars or knows what Star Wars is?
That's a great question. No, I do not think so.
If she does, she did an excellent job of not letting that affect her performance.
No, yeah, she's
You know,
great. She's doing the best she can. There's
Not
this
gonna bring
weird
any of
guy
that to my
comes up and,
performance.
hits on her very awkwardly. She's not into it, but
Yeah,
he's
it's
very pushy.
upsetting.
I did not like that part.
No.
I think her performance rings of what a true actress is capable of,
Yes.
which is being given a script and saying, "I'm going to look at the truth of these circumstances. I'm going to deliver a goddamn performance worthy of the words written on this page." Star Wars be damned, right? She's in it. I buy completely into her as this bar maiden. And
Yeah, it's over it.
and she's bought into it too, clearly. But no, she's
Clearly.
not seen Star Wars and doesn't know what's happening.
No.
Right.
Yeah, so we have this creepy guy who drinks through a hole in the top of his head, hitting on her.
Loudly.
Yeah.
And so what Disney Plus show will he be coming back on, guys?
yeah.
I
Looking
I
forward
gotta
to
say,
it.
this hole in the head moment blew my mind.
Yeah, I wasn't
It
ready.
blew, like, we can't just breeze past the fact that this guy poured
was
liquid down the
really-
top of his head.
And he has
Being
a
fairly
normal
flippant about
mouth,
it. It needs to be
Yes.
focused
He
on.
has a
Yeah.
mouth.
He talks
He
out.
looks like a
mouth.
human, but he drinks through the hole in the top of his head.
And
It
you
gets you
can
drunker
see
faster, like a
inside
wine
of the
tampon.
hole.
Just go straight through the hole in your head. Yeah.
It's upsetting to look into it. It's really gross.
There must
But
be
I
an
do think
esophagus
upsetting.
attached there.
He should have been in the Obi-Wan show for a nice Obi-Wan reaction shot, flashback to Mustafar.
Drinking,
Nice.
B. Arthur CG should have been in that thing, dog.
I do want a background
Bring
character
her
pouring
back.
something into his head in a future Star Wars media. Just in the
I believe
very
B. Arthur
background.
passed away a few years
Do you-
ago, but bring her
But
back.
Jacob, do you think she knew Maz Kanata?
Oh, I'm sure she did. Yeah.
I hope she did. I hope she got to know her. Before.
I like to imagine that she's working for the rebels secretly and kind of coordinating and knows a lot of the major players.
Yeah.
She probably knows Luthen too, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
sure. 100%.
But so we get, she's pouring drinks. Then we get a Imperial warning that they're having a lockdown or something, or a quarantine. Everyone needs to go back to their house. So she's trying to close the bar. All the bar patrons are like, no, we don't want to leave. And
We're still
then she
partying.
sings a little song, right?
It's not little. There's nothing little about that.
It's not short.
Forever.
It's not. There's
That's true.
nothing minuscule or.
1/3 of our runtime.
It's the longest song in the history of mankind. At a certain point, like, how many verses are there? It just keeps going.
But
Not
Lamb
the
Chop
worst
would
song.
blush
Not
at
the
the
worst
length of
song
this
to me
song.
in this, though.
No,
This was
I
one of my
think-
favorite parts of this special.
I actually like this, but where I was in my personal viewing journey, my God, this has to end, and it just it didn't. It was not ending, and
Yeah.
spoiler, there's way more than I thought there was coming after this too.
And,
You're like,
and the point where
surely we must be close.
Oh yeah,
you think it's gonna end, and then the words just turn into la la's or something. And they do a full round of just
Yeah, I'm like, wow, it's evolving.
And we had
they're
to
like, really.
lead up-
I mean, guys, I'm not joking about stretching the time. You
If-
do
so
another la
keep
la.
going,
Just
keep
do the
going.
first
B, can
two
you
la
scat?
las.
Do you just do like improvisational noise? She's like, the song could finish that way, yes. And you're like, let's see it.
Yeah,
We'll say goodbye to each
Because she's a
patron
pro.
one by one.
She does.
Also, yeah.
right.
Man, that's wild.
But no, I enjoyed it.
Does it's the Empire? The guy, is he standing in front of like a tie-dye background or something? Like it's very
It looked like
strange.
a
the guy
red
making
kind
the-
of
Yes.
fade
Yes.
kind
Very
of
strange.
effect.
Yes.
Yeah.
They do a classic Star Wars kind of wipey thing that just blows your mind. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a kaleidoscope or something.
So what we get out of the bar, at what point the Imperials are still there, right? And at what point is this when we finally get Han Solo
Yeah.
arrives?
Well, the head Imperial, I think he says we're leaving. We'll leave one stormtrooper here to wait for the fourth member of this household.
And just to
Right.
pause this real quick, just as a kid, not again that I watched this as a kid, but knowing as a child what holiday specials were, like the Garfield holiday special, like all these Christmas
Charlie
cartoons I would
Brown,
watch,
yeah.
and the Christmas episodes of them where you'd be like, of course this is gonna end with like these Empire guys have been here this whole special, so you're like, it's gonna end with them all like holding hands around like a table, being like, we're all not so different, are we? Pass me that Wampa roast, Mala.
Yeah.
Like all this stuff. No, it doesn't go that way at all in this moment. It blows my mind.
No, they just
No.
leave. They're like, we've been here long enough.
All right, what the fuck
Uh,
have we been doing? And it's like, I don't
Yeah.
know. You're asking that?
But they leave one stormtrooper there, and they say, "All right, we know there's another male Wookiee that belongs to this household. We're gonna wait for him." The stormtrooper's waiting, and then we
Good
get
luck.
Han showing up, Han and Chewie, and they knock him out or something, and
he
then
trips and falls off of the
He
the
dies, Jacob.
tree.
He dies.
He's dead, yeah.
He plummets to his death.
yes,
but
he's
but
dead.
not through any action of our heroes. He just kind of
They don't take
slips and falls.
violence. No,
Again, they're not
false.
sending their best troops to Kashyyyk.
They don't even use real Wilhelm scream. It's like a shittier version of a Wilhelm scream too.
Yes.
Yeah.
The budget. Yeah.
But finally we get Han and Chewie. They're finally Lumpy, is very happy to see
Lumpy.
Han.
It's Uncle Han. What are we doing?
Yeah, this
You guys
is
are
a
like
high-
family
This
to
is
me.
the mountain for me. This is the peak. of
Yeah.
Dad,
all
he
this
drove you
stuff.
here? That's what I'd be saying. I'd be like, Uncle Han's breath smells crazy.
Watching him have to maneuver the Wookiee.
He picks it up.
Yeah,
He picks up
and
the
then
guy.
quickly hands
You
it
see,
off.
that's
He
the
like
first
picks
time
it up,
he's
talks
seen
to
that
it,
kid
and
in that suit too. So his reaction is like, okay. He's like,
I am
I
picking
don't-
up this little guy.
All
I'm
right,
gonna hand him
here
off.
we are.
This is weird.
This is before Ewoks too, just to be clear.
Right.
So
Now,
there
do
might
you
be
think it
some
was a
ideation
child
here.
in that suit, or just like
No,
a little
I
person?
don't. No, I don't.
I can only imagine it was like an elemental spirit inhabiting. It looks like the Grinch baby.
Lumpy
at
came
a
to
certain
life.
point.
It does. You're
Yeah.
right. Yes.
They're all
doesn't.
upsetting. The whole
It looks like
family.
the monkey from
Upsetting.
Congo.
Come on,
the
Molly, give
little
us a
one with the
smile.
sign language glove.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty positive that when he picked Lumpy up was at the exact moment he's like, maybe Han Solo should just die after Empire Strikes Back.
Do I want to be in these? Yeah. It's
Can you
what
kill
is
me?
this?
Can you kill
Yeah.
me in Empire, please? I don't need to do any more of this.
That's the
you're right.
moment. And seeing the
Yeah.
cartoon. So
Hey,
they do
George.
return.
I just did this CBS thing. What the fuck? And George Lucas, for the first time, is hearing about it. He's like, "What do you mean? What they had you dressed like what? What do you mean? Mark and Carrie were there? I'm coming over." Like,
Yeah.
Oh my god!
You mean that
This is all-
Wookiee thing I pitched to them? Oh my god!
They didn't do anything with that, did they?
And then he's saying, this is all terrible. But then he's just looking at Lumpy and he's like, whole planet of those. Maybe a whole
Right.
planet
Interesting.
of those.
How tall are you?
I'll file that away. Is your name Warwick? I'd like to work with you.
That would be a hell of a twist.
Oh, yeah. I checked the credit. I didn't check.
Oh, yeah, I
any,
saw
but
in the credits
that
it wasn't
wasn't,
Warwick Davis, but it was.
I believe it was a
somebody
woman.
in that suit.
Return
Oh,
of the
a woman.
Jedi's later.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so they return.
yeah,
we
we
made
get-
it Life Day. They made
That's
it.
right.
And
we
so-
finally get some Life Day stuff, right?
But
right at the
okay,
end.
so again, as BC and Adam were saying, like you, I guess you're supposed to assume that the Wookiees are talking like, and remember, like you got to get all those candles because like Princess Leia is gonna come over and sing that song later because it's Life Day. Like this, it's like they're like telling each other like the things to like the festive things they're gonna get ready. We have no idea. So then this occurs and you're like, oh my god, you're like, this is Life Day. Oh no, I'm horrified.
Yeah.
Do either Adam, or BC, either of you, can
Get the
you
crystal
describe
orb.
to us, what are the proceedings? What are the
got my Life Day
elements of
candle.
this festival?
That's right.
I mean,
How does it function? How does
I
it
remember
function?
it as if a passing nightmare, but I remember a red procession of cloaked Wookiees. Yeah,
There's
holding
the
orbs
dawning
of-
of the
and
ceremonial
candles.
Life Day robe, which I think precedes anything, because one must be in the ceremonial robe before you can pass off the glowing orb
Yes,
of life.
of course.
I think
And
it's
it's the
like
only
the-
time you
imagine-
wear clothes all year. What does that symbolically
yeah,
represent?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm-
I would be
uh,
like, wait, are you naked?
It's like you went to your friend's weird church and you're not quite sure what's going on.
Hey,
And
Carrie,
Carrie's
never
got
mind.
following everybody.
I'm Greek Orthodox.
we kneeling now?
And you're like,
Are we kneeling?
what? Oh, that's cool,
Oh,
man. I'm
this is
Christian.
kneel-
And you're
yeah.
like, no, it's not the same. You're like, no, I think it is. Like, we can go. I'll sit with you. And you're like, you're like, this is where we get up. We got to put the robes on and pass the orb around. And you're like, oh, I don't understand this.
I had
Yeah.
this experience where I growing up in the South, church was a pretty regular Sunday thing. I had a friend who invited me to the Mormon church. I was like, church on a Sunday, no problem.
I can ride a
Easy
bike.
breezy.
Yeah.
3 hours later of this day, I'm like, what did you do to me, man? Where it's
What
like
is
they
this?
have there's church, but then they're like, all right, now we got to go to Sunday school where we separate the boys and the girls, and you can't be in the same room, and things got really weird. It's like, this is not what I signed up for. I
Right.
just thought I
A
was
lot like
doing like
the
a regular. Yeah, it's just
100%.
kind of the same feeling.
it gave me kind of the exact same feeling. So I think I would do well at a Life Day celebration at this point, where it's just like, all right, I can roll with these things, but it is uncomfortable.
I think I would be looking around for the food. I'd be like, I saw Mala in the kitchen all day. There are no appetizers.
How
Yeah,
did
where's the bantha roast?
the bantha roast not pay off at the end of it?
It's
You know
like,
what I mean?
what? You're like, we don't even get to see him eat dinner.
When they're
That
at
was the
dinner
biggest
table,
slam
You
dunk
get
they
that one
had.
shot of them at the table, right?
but
at
all the
end,
bowls
right?
are empty. They're completely empty. There's nothing in
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Show me a shot of what was prepared. We had an
Yeah.
entire section of the special about making this thing.
Right.
Whisk, stir, bro. Come on.
Sorry, we
Stir,
can't eat. We
whisk,
can't eat until Leia does
Yeah.
her song. Yeah.
And I assume
but again,
she was the
it's
guest
like,
speaker for this. She can't do this
Yeah.
every year.
yeah. Again, that's how church
She
events
volunteered,
work.
yeah.
It is. It's
Local princess is going to come do Life Day this year.
Right. She's a
That's
big
big
celebrity.
deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. And she's in no way related to the rebels or the guy that they're looking for who happens to be
That's right.
named yeah. Hide in plain sight.
I-
The closer we are to danger, the farther we are from harm, you know?
That's right.
Time to gather in our robes, set some things on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
There's
get
a lot
a-
of incense, you know, that smoke. I don't know what that is. I assume it's incense. In that
Yeah.
Yeah,
Incense,
Oh, the Carrie brought
Wookiee
that.
incense.
That's
That's from the green room.
yeah.
There's
That's
no way to confirm that she's, high out of her mind, but assuming that she is, because it seems to be the case, it is fascinating to watch someone that, high perform a song that is that slow and kind
Yes.
of like, just
Singing
a
to the
slow
tune
drawl.
of Star Wars, right? Singing
Yeah.
to the Star Wars theme.
Setting lyrics to
Mhm.
Star Wars. Absolutely.
Yes, which I'm gonna. Those are those lyrics are canon now for me.
Oh,
Those
you
are the
have to
lyrics
sing
Star
them.
Wars. Yes.
Adam, I have been with someone who's drunk, and at the end of the night, like, is it finally my turn to do karaoke? And you're like, no. And they're like, here I go. And you're just
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yeah.
But she
She
was
has that energy.
she was certainly leaning on Peter Mayhew like heavily in the beginning.
Well,
of this
again,
season.
she's
That
probably
too,
looking
yeah.
at Mike and being like, what are you wearing? This isn't what you wore in the last movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are my
she was,
tree.
She
Thank
was
you.
really getting into that fur. Yeah, that's
It's
something
a
I
tactile
definitely
experience. Yeah.
She was fucking rolling, dudes. I love it. That's
Yeah.
great.
The furry walls will keep me safe.
Ah.
Fascinating. We get canon lyrics, and now we know that in universe the Star Wars theme is actually just the Life Day traditional
right.
orchestration. That's
These are religious movies.
Yeah, of course.
Was anyone else bitterly disappointed that neither Mark Hamill or Harrison Ford joined in the song? 'Cause I was.
I am now, yeah.
That would have
Yeah.
been next level. Dude.
I was waiting for Harrison Ford to just like start singing, and it would have just made me so happy.
Bring
But
that
The
baritone
three
in.
stages we have here.
Special
Mark
disappointment
Hamill,
everywhere.
painkillers, has to be on so many pills. The accident.
Yeah.
Carrie, drugs. Just drugs. And Harrison, alcohol. If those three forces had combined into this, if Mark Hamill had been like, if he had out loud said, you know what, and here I go. Oh, I'd be like, oh shit.
That would have been the first triad of the Force.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That would have been
Absolutely.
amazing. Or if the Wookiees had just joined in and just started.
that
would have been also amazing.
Yeah, you know
They
what?
said it.
Yeah, that gives the chorus, the local choir of the Wookiee Church. I want them to, join in.
Yeah.
It does.
But,
So if the Star Wars theme is a holiday song, it's
Mhm.
like it's super weird. It's like
Right.
So
setting
strange.
Saving Private Ryan to like Blue Christmas, or
Have
I
a
guess that works.
holly
They do
jolly
it
Christmas.
now.
We gotta get Ryan.
It's Die Hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Wow.
guess it's not that weird.
Well, that's Life Day.
No, it's
guys.
that weird. You're correct.
That's this weird special we watched. What a strange journey. Yeah, I guess we'll jump over to our final thoughts now. We'll leave our little embargoed planet and jump back in our cardboard ship and get out of here. Coming up
Which on the
next.
flip side.
We're back here on Normies Like Us, where we have been talking CBS presents the Star Wars Holiday Special. Which worth pointing out, you do see Disney trying to find an avenue to milk this. We all just got the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special on Disney Plus. I would wonder if they're going to continue with that. And
we also have the
what will
Lego
be
Star
this?
Wars holiday special, which I haven't watched. Adam, BC, have you guys seen the Lego one at all?
I have.
Should we have done that instead?
I mean, it's definitely a better watch, but it's not more interesting than this.
Right.
I would say.
Okay.
I've watched some of it. I did not finish it.
Okay.
Interesting.
I just wanted to
market
mention
for a holiday special of some kind, though. Yeah.
Something big, something good.
I don't know if you guys looked into, who was behind this this monstrosity.
And are they in jail?
Yes. I was looking at the credits. First of all, it was directed by Steve Binder, who basically known for like doing comedy specials mostly for TV, variety shows and stuff. So that makes sense.
If you're going through your Oscar films this year, if you watch Elvis, the 2022 release this year, Steve Binder, a minor character in that film because he, of course, directs the Elvis comeback special.
Of course.
Listen, don't get me started on the 68 Elvis comeback special because I am a fan, and Mr. Binder's work falls a little flat when compared to the 68 special.
Wow.
We're covering that next year.
So on paper, yeah, that makes sense. There's 5 credited writers. One of them is Bruce Valanche, who you might know from Hollywood Squares. He was also wrote for the Oscars for like a long time and stuff. So he's like a comedy writer. So definitely seems like they just had a bunch of comedy variety special type people behind this instead of, like people who knew what Star Wars was. Interesting decision for sure. But
again, nobody knew what it was. It was one movie, as Colin said.
I still don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not even positive we did a good job of saying variety specials were these things in the 70s where Johnny Cash could come out and be like, I'm going to just buy an hour and a half slot on television. They're like, what are you going to do? You're going to like perform music? He's like, I'm going to do like skits and songs and
have all my friends.
Celebrity guests come out.
Before a
There would be
YouTube
kind
channel.
of a through line. Yeah, and you're like,
Do whatever I want.
Why would you do that? He's like, let's go get my name out there. And it's like, I guess so. And that, to combine it with the holiday aspect of it again, there's so many one-to-ones they could have done of like Christmas cookies and dressing a fucking tree and putting lights up and all this stuff. We got none of that in this.
No, there's no decorations in the house. Yeah.
No.
They really missed a big opportunity.
It's the Star Wars holiday special, but it's barely about a holiday and barely about Star Wars.
And it's not really that special, so...
If it would have been made after Empire, they would have had the marketing machine already figured out, and it would have been, chock full of this golden marketing opportunity for product.
It would have just been toy scene after toy scene.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I think this is so kind of unique and obviously will never be replicated because it came out, obviously Star Wars, the movie, was the only thing that existed, and nobody knew what Star Wars was really at that point. And, this would never be made today in a million years. Like nothing like this will ever be made again.
If John Wick had kind of caught on after the first one, we didn't get all the rest first. And the directors were like, did you hear we're making a ballet of John Wick that's going to play for like a week? You'd be like, well, that doesn't make any sense. And it would have made as much sense as this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Empire had come back, they could at least like set it on Hoth and have some snow. Holiday-ish, right?
Yeah.
Dang.
Wampa for Christmas. That would
Cut
have
open
been
your
great.
Wampa.
Yeah.
Your Tauntaun, maybe.
Yeah.
So all these, so Chewie is short for Chewbacca, right? You're saying Lumpy is like Lumpraka or whatever.
Lumpawalla or something.
Yeah,
So
I think you're close, Jake.
So all the names are short for something else, but what is Luke short for?
Lucas.
A stormtrooper.
I get it. Okay.
What a Star Wars joke.
Okay.
Hey.
All right, that's going in the special.
I can't be a
Can you do like
stormtrooper
5
because
more
I
minutes?
don't miss.
Mike, keep it going. Come on, Bruce Valanche.
Yeah.
10 more minutes of that.
Stretch it.
Oh, shit.
Jesus. No,
Although
even
the-
referencing Star Wars, that would have been great. We didn't get any of that.
That's true.
They do reuse a few lines specifically. Like Luke and Han both have recycled lines out of episode 4, but that's as
Isn't
close
there
as
a-
we get.
Isn't there a hand solo joke that appears somewhere in here? Am I
Yes.
making that up?
Nope. He's describing the
Okay.
carpet that Mala ordered from our merchant. And he's saying, oh, it came from this planet. She made one just for you. You could say it was made by herself, by hand, solo, something
That's
like that.
because he's speaking in the code. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Talking about this
Amazing.
Oh, it had a
character.
plot function. He was using code speak. I didn't even think about that.
That
He
does
was
not
informing
register with
her.
me at all.
You gotta remember, he's a contemporary of Luthen. You know, he's sending
Yeah.
codes
Yeah,
out all the
yeah.
time.
You know what? 10
Yeah.
out of 10, actually. This is pretty good.
Yeah, he's burned his life for a sunless guy, so he's
He shares his dreams with ghosts. Yeah.
yeah, he's
Condemned
all
to
in.
use the tools of his enemy, you know?
Yeah.
But it is very Luthen proto because he runs a store. He's like talking to the Imperials. Hey, man, I got, that stuff you like. Yeah, it's very funny how there is some.
Distributing data tapes of suspicious origin.
Yeah. It's pretty wild, but I'm never watching this again.
It's is it good to throw on a party? Because that used to be my trick, but now I'm like, it's too boring.
Well, when
You
you
would
need 'em
just
go
be
home.
confused.
If there's someone there that's experiencing it for the first time, then I think it's worth it just for their reaction. But if everyone's seen it already, then no, there's no reason to ever watch this again.
I will never willingly watch this of my own volition unless it is to force someone else to. I had to do it. Now you have to do it.
Right.
Yes.
There's no part of me that's like, you know what would be worth a revisit? Any of this.
Be Arthur, watch
I
some
think
barbs
you-
on
You
Tatooine.
put it on at the party, but with the sound off and leave the music playing. It's
Yeah.
it's just
have it
something
on
on
in the
the wall.
background.
It's a visualizer. Like
I might
2/3 of the
watch it
freaking
again.
segments in this.
Wow. Why? Why will you watch it again?
I just I imagine many years from now I'll be like, was that really as slow and shuffly as I remembered?
That's what happened to me.
I'll just have to
Like,
check.
Couldn't have been like that. Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh no.
See, my biggest takeaway, my final thought, as it were,
Mhm.
is that this is exactly as bad as everyone said that it was.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
Incredible.
I somehow did not believe that until I sat down and watched the whole thing. I was like, not only is it as bad as everyone thought it was, I understand why George Lucas feels active public shame about
Yeah.
this being in any way associated with his name, because it is so bad.
Right.
I mean, there's very little of it that's like, there are things that are bad that are like, it's bad, but it's funny and you can watch it. This is bad and it's slow and it's long.
right.
And it was shocking to me how bad and long it was. I mean, there are moments where it's like, yeah, Chewbacca's dad is jacking off in the living room. That's insane and it's funny. But then there's like 8 minutes of people just shuffling around the living room. You're like, what the hell is this? It is so poorly made that all of that like hype that you hear going into it is true. People aren't lying about that. It's true. All of it. It's all true. The Force, the terrible holiday special. It's all true. It's so bad.
I
It's
wasn't
so
Rare
bad.
that legends live up to themselves. Like,
Yeah. The legend is true that this is the worst.
Yeah. And I think not just that it's bad, but it's just like barely recognizable as Star Wars, right?
Mhm.
It's like, Rise of Skywalker to me is a bad movie, but at least it's a Star Wars movie. Like this is like,
You can watch it.
yeah,
And if you're
Book of Boba
a
Fett is a Star
child and
Wars
you watch
show.
it,
right.
you'll see some laser blasts and some, like
Here's
some
explosions.
There's some
fights
action.
and-
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
you won't wind up like watching a church song at the
Well,
end of
again, Adam, you're a kid. They tell you your favorite thing is a TV show. Oh, that's amazing. Who's going to star in it? The woman from Maude and Art Carney. You're like,
Yeah.
no, those are people
bunch
from
of old
70s TV
comedians.
shows. Yes, they're
Yeah.
no.
Right.
Jeez. So another thing, this will be my final thought then. BC pointed out, it lives up to the legend. And then, it's also been mentioned it is barely recognizable as a Star Wars thing. It's also barely recognizable as a holiday thing, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
Like, it fails at every single thing it's trying to do because it is
Yes.
not festive at all. Yeah. What the hell? Gremlins is more festive than this.
Definitely.
anything
I
that
think,
has a Christmas song in it is more festive.
A single red bulb is
Right.
more festive.
And like you said,
I
with
would
like the
argue
Charlie
that my
Brown,
background is as
Yeah,
festive as the
100%.
holiday special. I'm
Pretty
sitting in
much.
front of a white wall.
Kind of more interesting too, more visual variety.
Yeah, I could stare at that for an hour and a half and be happy.
Yep, you still come in.
And like you said with
minutes.
holiday specials, Charlie Brown and all that, they have a message, right? The message is like, the holidays are a time for family and all that stuff. What is the message of this really? I mean, I guess the life stuff at the end, the Life Day celebration, they say, family is important or whatever. But man,
There's usually a Grinch character, Jacob, who gets turned by the end of it. That's literally how
Right.
every one of these goes.
Yeah.
I don't like Christmas. Oh,
yeah, Charlie Brown's
you're
got his
right by
tree.
the
Everyone
end.
makes fun of him for his little tree. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's nothing like that.
I think the message is the Incredible Hulk and Wonder Woman will return next week in their regular scheduled time.
The Incredible Hulk will return. David Banner on his incredible journey, walking town to town. And you just
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, that does
That's
sound
the
good.
message.
It's an
Great.
improvement. Yeah.
I would rather
So
watch
much
those
better
two
than this.
episodes
Yes.
than this.
I can only imagine what it was like for kids in 1978.
Content
I might have
variety was
not been a
lacking.
Star Wars fan anymore.
I might have given up on Star Wars.
Boy.
Yeah. There's this new movie coming out, Empire Strikes Back. Do you want to go see it?
No, I've
No.
seen the sequel to Star Wars.
It's
I know what
Thing,
Star
right?
Wars is. Thank you.
No.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to say. Final thoughts. I also want to continue on the BC train of exactly what you said. You said it perfectly. Of the response as a fan and fandom to stuff is to be like, I want all of it, and there are always these quote unquote gatekeepers who are like, trust me. There's parts of it you don't want. Stay away from, X, Y, and Z. The guy who plays James Bond in that one, he's no good. It's not even worth your time. And you're like, no. You get indignant. No. I do deserve to take it all. And you are wrong sometimes. You just are wrong sometimes. And it is okay for George Lucas to be embarrassed about this. It is perfectly fine for him to be like, this doesn't count. I'm telling you this doesn't count. And if I find you with a VHS copy of it, I will either smash it with my hammer or pay you $200 for it so that I can smash it with my hammer.
Right.
And the biggest sin of this thing is like a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, 1980, when Empire Strikes Back comes out, they introduce a character named Yoda who is a puppet. And we have maybe the most popular Christmas special of all time now is a bunch of dumbass little puppets being like, oh, Scrooge and Christmas.
Oh,
blah, blah,
yeah.
blah. You
I love
can
Muppet
just
Christmas
in your
Carol.
mind see one, Mike, of Yoda by the fire being like, Luke coming back for Life Day, is he this year? And just being like, must get the stew ready. And it would just be so much easier. But instead, we get this thing that kills the form. And I almost wonder if George Lucas, the bent to go so dark, quote unquote, with a sequel, with Empire Strikes Back is like, I'm not that. I am getting away from that as much as I can. I am this. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think, for my final thought, I'll just say I appreciate this for what it is because it is so unique and because especially now that Star Wars is under Disney corporate control, there'll never be anything like this ever again. Not even close. Like if
They
Disney
can
made
make
a holiday
fun
special,
of it, yes, but never anything this earnest where it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah,
Brand
whoops.
continuity
What do we
is
do?
of high
Whoops.
importance.
Whoops is the best word to sum this movie up. Whoops.
Well, Star Wars is
it's
just
like
such a
it
different
was
thing now.
live.
How did that get away?
Yeah.
Like they were running the show live and couldn't stop
Yes.
it. It's what it feels like. It doesn't feel
Oh,
like
we've
something
committed
they
to
put
this. We
today
just have
The
to
feed
aired.
won't
Yeah.
cut.
Yeah.
The feed, she has to do 10 more minutes. She has to legally. And you're like, why?
But I think in the year 2022, 2023, fandom in general is just so different than it was. That there was no concept of being of a fandom.
yeah.
Star Wars was just a movie. It wasn't a franchise at this point. There was no other movies in the franchise, and now it's just such a different media landscape than 1978. But so I love it just for the fact of a artifact from a time that we will never go back to.
Yeah.
When you could openly do drugs at work and greenlight stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm. Get all your old
Man.
comedian friends, a couple paychecks for extended segments. Wild.
Yeah, if they made it today, it would be like Pete Davidson and different SNL people.
That's what I want to reboot this thing with the same script. Like everything else can change, but the script
That's
has to be
Every year we
exactly
do
the
it
same.
live with different people.
That
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that I would pay
I'm into
to
that.
do if there's a comedy club or anybody listening, a live reading of this where people have to come out and treat it like sketches. That would be a fucking
That would be amazing.
Every year the Cirque du Soleil bit gets wilder and wilder. You know,
Get a different musical act, you know?
Yeah.
I will play the grandpa. I'll go ahead and right
You're
now.
volunteering.
I think
Oh,
it's
man.
really important that your lower jaw is very pointy, so when you're making
Yeah.
smiles, they seem extra pervy.
They just designed it over to the studio executives at the time.
Yeah.
It was their boss. Well, guys, thanks for going on this journey.
Yeah,
on
sorry we
Galaxy
made
Far,
you
Far
watch
Away.
this.
Yeah,
Yes,
sorry.
very appreciated.
Our apologies.
I'm glad to have seen it.
Worth
I'm
it.
grateful.
It was
Return
worth
the
it,
Christmas card.
but I'm not watching it again.
I didn't believe in the existence of pure evil until I watched this. Yeah, this is bad. This is not. Again, it's an artifact. Don't watch it. Don't look at it. It's like the Indiana Jones. Like, don't open that.
Yeah, don't look away or you
Look
will melt
away.
into
Look away,
a
Marion.
skeleton. Yes.
Uh-huh. It belongs in a museum.
Close your eyes, Carrie. You're not singing right now. I'm not. Close your eyes, Carrie. It's okay.
Incredible. Well, we
Yeah,
did it.
yeah.
Well,
Thanks,
happy
y'all,
Life
for
Day, guys.
having us on. Really appreciate it.
Happy Life Day.
Jacob's already been on the show. You guys have to get on the show.
I
I
did
intend to.
come up with an idea watching this because the YouTube link that descended, I wanted to ask you guys if you've done these, that maybe this could be a good Cargo Bay episode for Colin. Have you guys done the radio dramas?
No, but I
Mm-mm.
am a fan.
That
It
needed that
rolled
one,
into
yep.
it right afterwards. I was like, ooh, what's this? And I listened to the first part of that one. That might be interesting for you guys to cover. And if you do, that might be one for me.
Fascinating.
That
Yeah,
sounds
that's
awesome
cool.
to me. Yeah.
Noted.
Yeah. I had a couple ideas, but I won't say them live, so I won't be forced to. I don't want to let anybody down if they get really
I
excited about
negotiate
the
on air.
ideas.
I'm Henry Cavill. I will be getting fired as Superman here right after the episode.
We are doing
But
Warhammer.
I put it all on the table.
You
But
thought
very
you were
good.
going to play Itchy. Not anymore.
No, sorry.
That's right.
We got Liam Hemsworth now. Yeah.
That's
Yes,
right.
but check out Cargo Bay.
That's Itchy.
Yes,
Yeah, we'll
check
put-
out
we'll put
Cargo
link-
Bay. Thanks again, guys. Happy Life Day to you.
As
And
itchy.
Happy Life Day. And
Happy Life
listeners, have a happy holiday, happy Life Day. This is our Life Day special. I hope you've enjoyed us suffering for your entertainment.
Absolutely. As we said up top, hit up at normies_like_us, rate, review, subscribe, help us out on the podcast. Again, do the same for Cargo Bay. Help out their podcast too. But of course, write in. We've got more episodes coming up. We're going to get back to Star Trek. We're back next month with the Next Generation, or the branch to the Next Generation, interestingly.
That's right.
So get ready for that in
Generation.
January.
generations. Yeah.
And we got some other stuff coming too, but of course, always right there if you've got anything you want us to cover or anything like that. And as we said, if you're watching this special, if you have a favorite holiday special, if for some reason this is that favorite, let us know why. We'd love to hear that. But otherwise, we have been your hosts. This is Colin Baca.
Mike Kala.
And this is Itchy Jake. Happy Life Day, everyone. Happy New Year's. And let's make 2023 the best normie year ever.
Wow.
Yes. And our guests, again, thank you very much. When I
And
send
now
us
we
out.
sing a song of peace.
Oh, Adam's drunk.
Life Day, loving my
Life Day,
life
Day,
having a life day.
Happy Life Day.
The
Beautiful.
CBS Normies Like Us special.